Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, we now know the identity of a McCreary County Sheriff's deputy who was shot in the line of duty last night. The deputy is 28-year-old Tyler Watkins, who has only been with the sheriff's office for 6 months. Most of that time he was a volunteer, and he just started working as a full-time deputy July 1st. Watkins was doing a welfare check when the shooting happened.
Once the deputy arrived on scene, he located the suspect inside a vehicle outside the residence. As the deputy was approaching the suspect pulled out a handgun and fired several rounds in the direction of the deputy, striking him at least one time. After the shooting occurred, the suspect then fled in his vehicle down the driveway out to Lick Creek Road, where he then struck the constable that was en route to the scene head on.
The suspect, Mark Dungan, is in custody. We are told Watkins is in critical condition but stable at a Tennessee hospital. He is expected to recover. We'll have much more on this tonight at 6. Businesses, organizations, and community members are finding new ways to rally around Black Jewel employees as they continue to wait for their paychecks. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds is in Harlan at Panda Garden, where proceeds today are going to those coal miners.
Panda Garden owner Joyce Chang started early this morning rolling out mini buffet boxes to support Black Jewel employees. Chang says the mini buffet boxes are the only thing on the menu today to keep up with demand. The meal boxes are normally $13 but are discounted today as an incentive to bring in more customers for more donations. Chang says the proceeds and discount are also an appreciation of not just the Black Jewel miners, but all of the coal miners that have supported her and kept her in business the last 25 years.
What you could do is you do what you can. What was the word I learned? Don't ask people what can they do for you. Ask what can you do for the community.
Owner Joyce Chang says her goal is to sell 500 of the mini buffet boxes by the end of the day. In Harlan County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
As of 2 o'clock, Panda Garden had sold more than 200 meal boxes. An earthquake was reported near the Kentucky-Tennessee border this morning. The quake was centered about 12 miles south of Middlesboro. The nearest town to the epicenter is New Tazewell, Tennessee. The U.S. Geological Survey says it was a magnitude 3.0. There are no reports of any damage.
Well, it's definitely been a gloomy day here in the mountains. We've seen that cloud cover, a few of those scattered rain chances, but at least it's a little bit on the cooler side. We'll notice as we take a look up into a few of our cameras, the National Weather Service camera in Jackson showing the mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. Sun peeking through every once in a while, but definitely dealing with those scattered rain chances as well. Looking into downtown Whitesburg, looking a little gloomy over there as well. Like I said, those clouds have been starting to break a little bit. That'll continue really as we head into the rest of those overnight hours. So you can see satellite and radar, just those scattered rain chances throughout the day. You can see the cloud cover starting to actually break a little bit. We're going to start to hopefully see some relief here in the next couple of hours, but you'll notice pinpoint Doppler, those scattered rain chances looking like some heavier rain down into parts of Bell County near Middlesboro, even down into parts of Whitley County here in Perry County. We've seen a few of those rain showers looking over into parts of Floyd County as well. You'll notice those temperatures definitely a little bit on the cooler side, those upper 70s to lower 80s. So at least we're getting a break from the heat, but not really getting a break from that humidity. You'll notice those low to mid 70s for those dew points. So definitely on the muggy side out there, but like I said, at least we're getting a little bit of break from the heat and that sunshine. That sunshine does return quickly, but of course we'll hang on to a few of those scattered rain chances. We do have an excessive heat watch out for a good majority of our area, but then another cold front arrives. So we do have some rain, some heat, and then some more rain. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a few short minutes. Steve.
All right, thank you, Paige. Earlier today, some people in Hazard were left without water along North Main Street. A water line broke, and city workers say they were forced to shut off 2 water valves, likely affecting people from Old Crow Tire to Hardburley. Water distribution worker Cameron Skeen says that there are many possible reasons for the break, but ground movement throughout the year is one of them.
It happens all year round. We have a lot of problems. The last few summers we've been having a whole lot more than what we usually do, but it's just old stuff in the ground. City workers were hoping to have the water line fixed by this afternoon.
He is an Eastern Kentucky native with one of the largest radio shows in the Big Blue Nation. Matt Jones and his crew were in Pikeville today as he answered questions not about UK, but his potential U.S. Senate run. WYMT's Will Puckett has more.
Kentucky Sports Radio made a stop in Pikeville at Buffalo Wild Wings today as they tour across the bluegrass. Host Matt Jones is a day removed from his temporary removal from his TV show Hey Kentucky. The station that carries the programming forced his hand in the decision. While he understands why it was made, he says the law doesn't require it. And while he continues to mold the decision on if he will run for the Senate, he knows that if he does decide to throw his hat in the ring, he will represent the region he is from and loves.
I do know this. I love this state. I love this region, especially the mountains of Eastern Kentucky. And I know that if I ran for office, they would be the primary thing motivating me, is to help better the lives of working people in these areas.
Jones does not have a timetable on when or if he will make the decision to run for Senate. He still says he has a while until the filing deadline. He says above all, he will let God lead him in the right direction. In Pikeville, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
KSR wraps up the eastern leg of their tour tomorrow. Republican Governor Matt Bevin and Democratic challenger Andy Beshear clashed on education and health care policies during a forum today. Hillary Thornton has more from that event at Kentucky Farm Bureau in Louisville.
Well, it is just the second time during this campaign that Governor Matt Bevin and Attorney General Andy Beshear have been on stage together. Today's forum, hosted by Kentucky Farm Bureau, the topics discussed important to the folks here and those they represent. The questions asked regarding state budget, taxation, rural development, and infrastructure. Each candidate given 3 minutes to answer, both vowing to make agriculture a priority. It is something Governor Matt Bevin says he is already doing, but something Beshear says can be done better. Both candidates talking about their agricultural backgrounds and experience growing up around farming and how those memories and lessons learned have shaped who they are today. The candidates did find ways, however, to get into other topics. Governor Matt Bevin talking about his pro-life stance, his support of school choice, and some issues that he says the state is dealing with due to his predecessor, Andy Beshear's father, Steve Beshear. Meanwhile, Andy Beshear bringing up issues with the state's pension system, what he says is the governor's inability to get along with the state's Republican-controlled House and Senate, as well as health care. Now, after answering the questions, each candidate was given 5 minutes for closing remarks. Governor Bevin putting some of his directly to Beshear.
The reality is you blow a lot of smoke. You make a lot of promises. You file a lot of lawsuits. You fight this administration and you fight this state for political reasons.
What I've heard very often from the governor is you should choose the person that you would want to leave in charge of your company. Would it be a person that would attack, bully, and demean your employees, because teachers are the most important employees here in Kentucky?
In Louisville, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And of course, the two will face each other in November's general election. The Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo was sentenced to life today, and he spoke publicly for the first time since his arrest. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was convicted in February on multiple conspiracy charges linked to drug trafficking. Today, the judge ordered him to pay the government $12.6 billion in restitution, along with a life sentence with no parole. Guzman addressed the court through an interpreter, describing his stay at a Manhattan jail as torture.
I've been forced to drink unsanitary water. I've been denied access to fresh air and sunlight. The only sunlight I have in my cell comes through in the air vent.
Guzman has managed to escape twice from Mexican prisons. He will likely be sent to the Supermax prison in Colorado, where no one has escaped since it opened in 1994. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 115 points. Former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens is being remembered today for his towering judicial career. Stevens, who is among the longest-serving justices in court history, died yesterday after complications from a stroke. He was 99 years old and served on the court for 35 years. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced today Justice Stevens will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda on Monday. Beachgoers in Georgia worked together to try and save a large number of beached whales yesterday. 27 pilot whales were stranded right off St. Simon's Island. You can see people floating in the water trying to help out. 2 of those whales unfortunately died, but the Department of Natural Resources says they might have been sick. Pilot whales travel in packs, so if one falls behind, the others will not leave it. Officials thank the volunteers for their help saving the rest of the whales. Straight ahead on First at 4, the CDC takes a closer look at the staggering number of painkillers that flooded the country during the height of the opioid crisis.
And after that rain moves through, the heat and humidity increase by the end of the work week. We'll break down that full forecast coming up.